Understanding the grammatical person would be very helpful in trying to go ahead with Greek, as various verbs will have different forms depending on what grammatical person it is. Now, this may not make sense to you, but I'm hoping that in this video, I'll explain to you what a grammatical person is, and I'll be using English to help you understand that, so that then we can go and apply the same principles to Greek. Now, to do that, I'm going to take the help of these three people who are on the screen. So let's imagine that this guy in blue is a person who's talking to this cook. Okay? And then there is a third person who is not in the conversation. Now imagine that this blue guy is talking about some action that he wants to do. So for example, let's say the action is eat. Okay? And he wants to describe the action being done by himself. Okay, how is he going to do that? He's going to say, I eat, or he may say, I am eating. Now, if he wants to talk about the eating that this chef does, and he's talking to him, what would he be saying? He would be saying something like, you eat. And he'll be saying, you are eating. Can you see? This I changes into you, and the change actually describes who is doing the action. When I eat is being said, it's the speaker who's doing the eating himself. When he's saying you eat, it's the listener or the person who is in the conversation who is eating. If you want to describe the eating done by this third person who is not in the conversation, what would you say? You would say something like, he eats, or he is eating. Okay? So there are three different ways in which you can talk about the verb depending on who is doing the action. So the examples that we saw were for single people in each of these positions: the speaker's position, the listener's position, and the person who's outside the conversation. Okay? In grammar, we call the person who is speaking about himself, we call that as the first person. So if he's speaking and he's talking about his own action, he's talking in first person. If he's talking about the action that the listener or the person he's talking to is doing, then we say that he's talking in the second person. And if he's talking about somebody who is outside the conversation, we say it is the third person. Now, the first person, second person, and third person both don't only have to be a single person. It could be multiple people. So, for example, we might say, we eat, which is a first person plural way of saying it, right? Because we are talking about we, which means there are many people who are talking about their own action. Similarly, we may say, you eat. And in English, we don't have a differentiation between you, which is singular, and you, which is plural. So you may refer to many people who are being talked to. Similarly, in the third person plural, we may say, they eat. So I've kind of summarized the what we have been talking about here. So there is three grammatical persons. The first person who is talking, and he's talking about action that he himself is doing. So we can say I eat or I'm eating, and in plural we say we eat or we are eating. The second person is the person who is being talked to, and this person who's listening is doing the action, and this person may say you eat or you are eating. And if there are many people, he may again say you eat or you are eating. In English, there is no differentiation between singular you and plural you. The third person is somebody who is outside the conversation. So we are describing the eating that this person is doing, but the description is being done by this person to this person. So this person is outside the conversation. And then what would this person say? He would say something like he eats, or he is eating, or they eat, they are eating if it's in plural. Now, in English, depending on the gender of this person, we may say he, she, or it. So he eats, or she eats, or it eats. Let's say we're talking about an animal, we'll say it eats. Okay, so that's about grammatical person. In the next video, we are going to see how this grammatical person is expressed in Greek.